They said they wanted power.
Oh, awesome.
Zaba, Zakalush, Kalamatskalo.
Welcome to Guru Talks.
Guru? What do they do, like levitate and chill on mountaintops?
Not exactly, but you are in the right place to find out everything you need to know, and it's actually quite simple. I am your host, Florian Boschi, and I will be going extra deep with Guru Bhaneswaranand each and every show. We are covering deep truths about relationships, success in business, world peace, and many other topics. Oh, and of course, enlightenment. Because our Guru, well, he is enlightened. This is the 12th episode of Guru Talks. Today we will speak about black magic and everything associated with it. Good day, Guru Bhaneswaranand. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's get right into it. Since we have had conversations before about black magic, I will ask you some specific questions. Can you please explain the difference between black magic and a curse?
Curse is a black magic which is unorganized, mostly unintentional, and the intensity of this energy is very low. Black magic is an organized curse where people organizes a ritual to harm somebody systematically and with the help of someone who knows how to do it.
Someone who knows how to do it would mean a black magician.
Yeah, that means, of course, a black magician.
So how does somebody become, I know you're not, but do you know how does somebody become a black magician? I mean, where do you learn that even?
Yeah. Number one, I think you should have a mental makeup to harm people. And number two, there are few adverse chanting, there are few procedures by which when you perform something, you slowly start becoming black magician.
Oh, so there is ways how your energy gets changed.
It's not changed. I think they try to create the kind of energy which is negative in the direction, and it's not changed. It is present in that form only in those people.
In present in what form?
Black energy form.
So when you say black energy form, you define black energy as the intention to harm somebody else? Is that the definition of black?
Yes. Exactly. Intention to harm somebody else by a systematic method is called the black magic or black energy.
Okay. Is there a certain, I don't know, I'm trying to understand the phenomenon a little bit better. Is there a certain demographic where you find this more often, in certain countries where you find it more often? Do you find it more often within families or within work colleagues? Or because black magic is basically a procedure where somebody wants to intentionally harm somebody else, goes to a professional, as far as I understand this, tells the professional what to do. The professional organizes dark energy onto the to be harmed person, and then that's it. And then the person gets negative effects. How does this happen? I mean, you have dealt, I believe, with many people who needed their black magic removed. How is this usually done? Is this done within families, or is this more common in certain countries? Do you understand what I'm trying to get to?
Yes, I understand what you want to ask, but to your question, there is no specific answer. I try to tell you, elaborate on it. Look, black magic is usually done by someone who is usually close to you, and he does not have capacity to face you one to one, talk in front of you what he feels, and he is afraid of you a little, then he finds himself helpless in this kind of the situation and takes the outside help to harm you. Now, usually, who this person can be, I said you is usually close to you, who is not able to talk to you. He is a friend in form of an enemy. He could be a jealous family member. He could be a jealous business partner. He could be a jealous business associate, a jealous competitor who is not able to see your progress and is not able to do anything to stop it, and maybe a jealous fellow politician. These are the, it's an enemy who does not want to say that I'm your enemy.
So good. So when I met you, since I've met you, I have seen many people come to you to remove such inflictions that have been done to them. So I have always wondered, because before I met you, I have not even been aware that this phenomenon even exists in the way it does. And I'm not surprised about that, because I think from my experience now, most people are not aware that this phenomenon exists. So maybe they are, I guess, because it seems to be such a common thing. So as many people as there are who are afflicted by black magic, as many people there must be who want to put black magic on somebody else and know that this exists and know where to go to get it done. And that is amazing to me. I think we have spoken before. You have told me 1 out of 10 people in Austria, and it's very, very small percentage actually, or was it 1 out of 15 or something? Then you spoke to me about London. You said it's much higher there. So can you comment on all this a little bit?
It again, I told you, people who are more powerful has got more hidden enemy, and it can be done to them mostly.
And it seems to be common.
It is, I think, everything. You see, it can be proved both way that it is common. It can also be said that it is non-common. But yes, in my personal opinion, it is definitely common in whole of the world. Some places which were more powerful, it is more there. Some places where people were more peaceful, it is less there. And but it exists almost everywhere. The When you get affected by the adverse energy, usually you remain confused, not able to make the right decisions. When you go to the place of worship, usually when a common person visits the place of worship, he becomes happier. But if you are inflicted with the black energy, you will usually become sad, and happiness will not come to you when you visit a place of worship. Your business starts going down without any perfect reason. You start quarreling with your spouse without any perfect reason. You you are not able to concentrate yourself at any place, at any thoughts, any given thing for a long time. These are few indications and symptoms that you may be inflicted with the black energy.
Okay. You gave me a list before, which I kind of like would like to at least. There were a few more things that you gave me on this list about symptoms of black magic, as you have started to mention them, and there were also others like being worried constantly, having suicidal thoughts,
Yes,
no desires, or that sounds like enlightenment, but I guess that's the other version of it. No, to have no desire to, oh, no desire to live. Yes, no desire to live, or a desire to move away from home and your family.
yes. Yeah, constant desire to move away from your family. I mean, everybody want to move away a little bit up from the family, but constant desire. No, I need to move. I need to move. I need to move like this.
Okay. Being sick all the time, or more than one family
Yes,
members.
sick without any reason. Look, if you find the reason for the sickness, that is something different. But usually, if you are inflicted with the black magic, you feel that you are very sick. When you go to test yourself, you find no reason, so you remain confused. Why I am sick? People don't think that you are sick because all reports comes normal. Your family members also starts doubting you that you may be making a drama, that you are sick, whereas all the reports are normal and you are not.
Okay. Makes sense. Another one here, getting angry fast,
Also, yes.
and a feeling of weakness that is connected with obesity or with being overweight.
Yes, but all these things, when you get without any reason, I mean, you start getting angry without any sufficient reason, then you think
I
that
see.
yes, if
Makes
somebody
sense.
is, yeah, if somebody is has come abusing you, of course, every normal human being will have a tendency to get angry. But if you have got black magic, you remain always angry.
Okay.
Yes.
And then another interesting one, and I think you mentioned that, or maybe you didn't, infertility without a psychological, physiological reason.
Sometimes, yes, sometimes. Infertility can be, you see, again, the same thing. You go and get yourself checked up with a doctor, and he finds no reason why a child is not being produced. Then, yes, then in those cases, it could be black magic.
Okay. Repeated miscarriages.
Also,
Another one, sudden and unnatural
death in the family.
problems with structures of houses, businesses, buildings,
Yes,
lack of money despite hard work,
yes,
sudden fights among family members without
any reason.
obvious reason, yes.
Yes, without obvious reasons.
And then it seems impossible to achieve something, even though the means seem to be available.
Yes, I mean, your confidence level goes down and you doubt your capacity to achieve any success.
Yes. And the next one I think you mentioned is losing the business, being fired without a real reason or without an obvious reason.
Also,
Yes,
yes.
a feeling of what's the word? I'm translating here from German. Because you gave it to me in English, I translated it in German, and now I can't find the English. But unrest, I guess, a feeling of unrest or not being at peace.
Yes.
Fears of enemies. I think you said that also, and evil plans from others. And you're not getting any assistance from the government.
Yeah, lack of government favors.
Yes, and I think that was the list. That's a very long list of symptoms. Do they usually all occur at once, or do some people have this and some have that? And doesn't it also depend on the, I guess it's the same word, right? The sankalpa of the black magic?
Yes, not sankalpa. I mean, yes, all of them does not occur together unless the black magic is very big. Otherwise, you have few symptoms of this, specifically continuous anger without any reason and low self-confidence.
Okay. And it's not called sankalpa.
No, it's not. Sankalpa is a very positive thing. I think we should not use that word here.
Yeah.
And it is, I mean, no black magician calls that I'm doing sankalpa for you. Unless he was removing something that is different.
Okay. So one interesting thing is, maybe you can explain this to us a little bit more, that black magic seems to always affect the whole family.
Anything happens, and when you are staying together, it affects the whole family. Why only black magic? If you become rich, it affects the whole family. If you become poor, it again affects the whole family. If you become famous, family gets the benefit, and if you become, if people start abusing you, again family. So anything, any type of energy you have, anyone staying close to you gets benefited or gets problem. So black magic also is a black energy. When you get inflicted, some effect of this is on all family members.
Okay. I'm asking because I always see you, when you do a black magic removal, I always see you work with not just the affected person, but also with their spouse, their children, and their parents, I believe, right?
Yeah, yes. Because everybody will have a little bit of effect of this on them, sometimes visible and sometimes not visible. But when you remove from a person and protect him, then it may start becoming visible on the another person of the family. And therefore the whole bloodline, like suppose you are inflicted, then removal will have to be done with you, your spouse, your children, and your parent.
Uh-huh. Because otherwise it gets only removed from that person and then it can come back, or that's what you say?
It can come back. Yes.
So how does this work now, a black magic removal? Can we do this at home? Can somebody come to you and do a 2-week class and you show them how to do black magic removals? And what's the procedure?
Casting a black magic, I think, is an easy task. People learn for 2 weeks or for 5 weeks or 10 weeks and become good in it. But removal is a long process.
Okay.
And removal is a difficult process. And in removal also, there are 3-4 processes which we must understand. Removal in which whatever the cause of the black magic is goes away from you temporarily. For 4-5 days, 10 days, maybe 6 months, and then it again comes back. Okay. Then removal with protection, wherein you remove things and burn it, destroy it completely, and then protect a person so that nothing comes to him again. You see, human body is a protected object, a protected thing in itself. So usually you do not receive these adverse energies from small curses, from moving here and there. But if systematically once it has been implanted in you, then that highway opens, and then you can catch the adverse energies from anywhere, from anyone, and then it becomes very difficult to find out, because whatever comes last to you remains visible, remains, I mean, you can experience that, and others things you are never able to find. So you have to remove the whole things and then protect a person so that he remains protected and nothing comes to him again.
Okay. Let's just reiterate that to make sure I understood you correctly. So, when somebody has been inflicted by black magic once, it is like a highway opens, and everywhere they go after that, they are able to catch dark energies from all around.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, where can people catch dark energies from?
Many places, you see, somebody was cursing somebody else and you were around, you can catch it. You can catch the lower entities which may harm you sometimes. You can,
So, hold on. Lower entities?
yeah, like few maybe ghost, or maybe few lower types of entities which,
So they will just go, when you walk by them, they just slip into you? How does this
yes,
work?
it comes to you and you start getting disturbed. Uh, and when removal has to be done, then the whole thing needs to be cleaned before you give the protection.
Okay. So, but you say a person before they have had any this protection, they have a natural protection shield, and before this protection shield is broken, so if nobody has inflicted black magic on you, it is usually no dark energy comes to a person.
Yeah, yes, that is true. I mean, every person is usually protected. Usually, some are less protected, some are more protected. Like children are very sensitive. They take the curses, the bad eyes immediately. But by the time you grow up, I hope your energies becomes all right, and usually you do not pick up anything from anyone. Yeah, in case it has been inflicted, then that road is open, and then it is something different.
Okay, so you were saying that children are very vulnerable to these dark
Yes,
energies?
yes.
What can the parents do then to protect their children from that?
I think every culture has got some system of protecting their children. Some keeps this, some. I mean, there are in every culture different protection things are being used, and in Indian culture there had been 16 sanskars, it is called, and in every occasion a protection was being provided to a child.
I don't understand what you just said. Can you repeat this in different words?
Yeah, you there are 16 ceremonies.
Of protection, okay.
Yes, in the Hinduism, I think. Okay, I mean, it became part of Hinduism, but there were 16 ceremonies at different age level. Like we give the injections or medicines to children, they were used. I mean, these occasions were used to protect a child.
Okay. So, I mean, what do you recommend? You say that no matter what it is in your culture, you just use that and it will all work?
I think children should be protected, and you just take care of them, take them in your house. If you see somebody with the negative adverse energy, don't take them there. Accidentally also, you do not take them to a black magician or somebody, and something like this is to take the protection. A real protection may not be necessary for the children, unless of course there is something, then you can do the removal and protection.
Unless there is some unnatural.
Some symptoms, yes, some unnatural symptoms if you experience, then it is something different. Otherwise, I don't think you should do any spiritual protection to a child.
That makes sense. The other question I have is that natural protection shield, and I know this is a weird question, does it get broken with sexuality when somebody has negativity and has sex with another person? Because we spoke about this, I think, 2 weeks ago, and it just came into my mind when you said we can pick up negativity, and I think we spoke about something similar, that it sometimes can be easy to pick up anything, good and bad, from another person when we open ourselves up with sexual intercourse. So I just wonder, how is this relevant in relation to this natural protection shield?
You have already answered the question along with the question. Look,
Okay.
anything what your partner has, you get those emotions knowingly or unknowingly. Okay, so if your partner is affected by AIDS, you get HIV. If he's affected by negativity of black energy, black magic, you get part of that. If he's spiritual, a very high spiritual person, you get positive energy. If he's a nice person, you get nice energy. If he's an abusive person, you get abusive energy. I mean, whatever, that's very simple. Sexual relations are very intimate relations wherein transfer of pleasure takes place. And I have told you always that it's not only positive things that comes in. Whenever a relationship occurs, you exchange whole, you exchange a whole thing. Whatever you and your partner has, you usually share it. So having sex with a person affected by the black magic, part of the black magic, definitely you also get it.
Well, and then it breaks your protection shield, or no?
It does. It does break your protection seal, for sure.
So sex is actually, or random sex, I guess, is actually a way to transmit black magic, like a virus almost.
Yes, why transmit black magic? I mean, it is to transmit anything your partner has. So
Yeah, but I mean, just in context to this specific topic,
yes, yes.
I mean, black magic usually stays with the same bunch of people. Somebody gets it, so maybe, a little bit their parents are affected, their children are affected, and their spouse is affected. But if somebody now, let's say, has multiple sexual partners over the course of a year, maybe 20, then he has basically just carried that black magic to 20 other people. that now have like a growing spiritual tumor inside of them, if you can call it that, that will basically screw up their lives. Sorry, I mean, maybe I'm off here, but this.
I think, okay, I understand what you want to say, but yes, I mean, it does affect. To what extent, that is to be seen, but it does affect.
But it's not like the same as the person that got inflicted by the black magician with the black magic. So there's only like small parts.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing, like if I have got uh, everything will not get transferred to the person, but yes, part of it definitely gets transferred.
Yeah, okay. No, it's just because we're talking about this before, like that people get the removal, and then when there is a little remnant left, maybe in one of the children, that it can kind of like start growing again. After a few years, it becomes like big again, and then, or after a year, it becomes big again, and then you have the whole bunch of symptoms again. So the way I imagined it a little bit is almost like a cancer with chemotherapy, where a few cells remain, and then they grow again, and sooner or later the whole tumor is back. So I thought maybe when it gets transferred, it's the same thing that.
It is same thing. Yes, you are right. It is anything like if a little bit of black thing goes in you, it may start growing, and then you have problems for sure.
And when it starts growing, it's always with the same intentions
Yes.
that the original creation of the black magic, was following or was trying to achieve.
Yes.
So we were speaking about removing it now, okay? And you were saying that it's much easier to put it on someone than to remove it. Because, and then you were saying that there are two different kinds of removal. One is where you remove it, and one is where you remove it, and then you offer a protection.
Yes.
And I know this from you. You usually only do the kind of removal that comes together with a protection.
Yes.
Or is there ever a case where you feel like that doesn't need to be done?
No, I think I do the complete process. If I do, I always do the complete process.
Okay. Was there a time where you haven't done the protection, just the removal?
I don't think, unless you know about it.
No, because I remember you told me a couple of stories in the beginning when you were doing black magic removals some 20 years ago, I believe, and you were telling me that the method that you used back then, what you can do now in 2 hours, took 2, 3, 4 days back then.
Well, I mean, yes, that is, you are right, and it is.
So I'm just wondering, like, how did your sophistication change, or how did your technology or technique change? What changed?
Everything, you get sharp and your energy became more. I'm not the same person which I used to be that time when that time I had anger, I had all the emotions which is not there at the moment now. So whatever energy I want to destroy, probably source helps me, or it's not me, it's source through me helps these people, and they become benefited by it.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because there is a physics law that says that energy can basically not be destroyed. It can only change form, right? So I'm just wondering, when you speak about destroying energies, are you literally destroying it, or does it become something else?
See, those physics laws, work and energy, I think there are many other things also, like entropy. There are many other terms in physics. But yes, coming back to this, it changes the form. Maybe the negative energy becomes fire energy, it becomes something different. When we say that we have removed it from your body, we have protected your body, that it doesn't return back to you.
Okay. So if somebody now is listening to this podcast and sits at home and thinks, well, I have some of those symptoms. Maybe I have black magic, and and then they find out. Maybe you will tell them if they contact you. You will tell them if they have it or if not. And I would just like to, I guess, get an overview of what it means for the person inflicted to do a removal. What's the process for them? What do they have to do?
What they have to do to get it removed, this is what in nutshell I should say. First, the basic problem is for him to understand whether he has it or not. So if he finds these symptoms, he can close his eyes, try to realize, or he can, whatever faith system he has, he go to the place of worship to test it. That would be an abnormal day compared to the normal days. If it happens like this, then he must understand that he has it.
It sounds like an exorcism. There's there are these movies, I don't know if you have seen them, where, the person is lying and is having personality changes, and then you put a cross close to them and they start freaking out.
Yes. So it's similar. If you go to the place of your worship, you will feel little abnormal on that day, and then you understand that you have it and you need some assistance and help from someone to get it removed and protect yourself.
Yeah, okay. So let's say I'm your customer. I'm realizing now I have black magic. I come to you, and I agree.
I do not have any customer. I'm sorry to intervene you.
Yeah, okay.
But I do not have any customer. They are all part of me. Source may have given me privilege to help them, and sometimes it may be necessary to take some money for the survival of these rituals because they are costly also. So I may be forced, I may have to take some money, but even by taking money also, they doesn't become my customer. Okay, they are visitors here. They are part of our soul in trouble. They are fellow brothers and sisters who are in trouble, and if they come to me, I just help them.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes.
So let's say I've never met you. I'm listening to this podcast, and I'm writing. I have these symptoms, and then you will probably ask to for a photo, because you always want to see a photo, and then you will be able to determine if they have black magic or not, and you will tell them immediately, right? So I'm now identified. I have black magic. I've never met you. It's a strong black magic. I understand it screws up my life. I come to you. I agree to any cost that is involved. What do I do? What do I need to do? Do I need to come to India? What do I need to do?
It's, you see, if you are far away, maybe you can find somebody there who can help you. But yes, you can come to India if you want and do a fire ritual for removal, followed by a protection and energy transfer. This is what we do. And then whatever the symptoms remains in your blood, in other part of the body, we suggest that take this mantra and chant for at least 2 weeks so that these symptoms goes away from you and there is no chance of developments in future. This is what the procedure we do, and it takes about 3-4 hours to complete this procedure, and followed by roughly 1.5 hours to 2 hours chanting for about 2 weeks.
2 hours chanting for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. And I have seen you do black magic removals over distance, and then I have seen you deny doing them over distance because you were saying that this one wouldn't work over distance.
See, I told you the life is not human life, unfortunately, is being seen in a scientific way, and we discuss only science when we want to discuss human being. But unfortunately, it's not true because we have, all of us has nose but a different one, eyes but a different one. None of the two people are same, and therefore remedies for two people are also not the same. Sometimes the same doctor is treating you and you become well because you have got confidence in that doctor. Uh, I would like to tell you something about me. I had a doctor in Vadodara, and if I get a little sick sometime, the moment I see him, my sickness will go away. And I mean, somebody asked me how I describe it, how, then I have got no method of description, but this was happening. And I lost him this year, and I was very sad that I may not be able to find out similar doctor again. So, I mean, I just, out of the context, I told you this, but what I mean here is that the problems of human being can be dealt with arts and science together. It, Human problems are not artistic totally, and they are not scientific totally. So maybe that you do not find the same laws applicable everywhere.
So in some cases, you will tell somebody you need to come see me, or I need to come see you, or in other cases, you'll be able to do it over distance, and there's no way to tell ahead of time, basically.
No, usually there is no method of telling ahead of time. But I mean, for small things, as a general rule, if you want to know, I can tell you, if problems are smaller, we are able to do over distance. If I see it's a bigger problem, then I want to see them in person.
Did it ever happen to you that somebody came to you with for a black magic removal and you removed it, give the protection, and it still came back?
Yeah, it has happened in few cases.
So it's like the energy is missing a little thing or something.
Yes. I mean, chances of errors are everywhere, but it has happened in very less cases. But yes, it has happened.
Um, can black magic also lead to cancer in your experience?
I think it can, but I do not have any evidence, and I have not done any work on cancer. Lately, a lot of cancer patients are there in the world, and I think a real research in this direction is necessary to find some results. These results are not available with me at the moment, but maybe some of my disciples like Florian or somebody decides to do some research on their own, and if they decide so, I will be very happy to help them with whatever I can do.
Okay. So let's say somebody has a black magic and then passes away and then reincarnates. Will they still have that black magic with them?
It again, you see, I think we have already spoken a lot on reincarnation.
Yeah, but not on black magic and reincarnation.
Now let us first understand the principle of reincarnation, and what you carry from first life to the next one is you do not carry everything from this life to the other one. Only those part of your life which you are able to remember at the time of your death, you carry from this side to the next side. Now, if the pain of the black magic is so deep that at the time of death you are able to remember it, then you will carry it to the next life. Anything what you have, usually you remember at the time of your death. So there is every possibility that you can carry over to your next life.
Because you're inflicted by the emotions associated with the black magic. So if you have them the moment you die, you bring that emotional pattern with you.
Exactly. That is what we have already discussed. I think that you have already done an episode on that, I suppose. No.
Yes, we have, but I didn't see the context between the black magic as clearly as I do now. So really, black magic is nothing else but an infliction of an emotional pattern.
Yes, but systematically done.
I mean, how does a black magician do that? I mean, how do they even start? I mean, don't teach us how to do that. That's not what I'm saying. But just so in a few words on how.
As I told you, there are no certain rules, but yes, I mean, it can be done, and rules does not apply. Some people take some rule, some people take another route, but it can be done. The if you wish, you see, in a culture, in a backward culture like ours, I should say backward.
Which one you're talking about? The world culture. The world culture.
World culture or the rural culture. We were taught by our grandparents that do good things always, do such things so that others they don't suffer, take care that you don't take any adverse feelings from anyone. And it was in Hindi, there was a word for it. It is called Baddua. So there could be a reason for our ancestors teaching us that don't take any Baddua from anyone. It will affect your life.
Again, what is Padwa?
Baddua is the adverse feelings of somebody when they are not able to do. Suppose you slap someone and he is not able to respond back by slapping to you. What he does? He says, okay, God sees this. Okay. You will be taken care of by nature. Or you have beaten me and you go and get beaten somewhere. These are called badduas, and our ancestors, specifically, even my grandfather used to tell me, do only good deeds, my grandson, so that nobody gives you baddua in the life.
Okay. So So basically, don't get involved emotionally with other people's problems.
Yes, I mean, don't fight with them, don't quarrel with them, don't. You have a very simple, self-centered life. Try to do good to others and never do anything bad to anybody. I think this is the way you can live a happy and successful life.
But there is a concept in our society where it is important to feel the pain of others. This is a very Christian societal thing to to be with somebody else, be able to be with somebody else in their pain. But this would be almost like going in the direction of taking on negative energy from somebody else, from what you're saying.
I don't know. I don't think.
No,
No,
okay.
no, no. You see, here you are sympathizing the other person, and it has got nothing to do with the energy transfer.
Okay, that's good to know. So let's say somebody comes to you and says, Guruji, I would really like to learn how to become a kick butt black magic remover. Can you teach me?
Yes, if you want to learn, you come. I would love to give my insights to the best of my knowledge and belief.
Okay, but then the next question would obviously be, what's to be expected? If somebody wants to learn that, I mean, what's the process? They come to you for a week, or they have to meditate for 15 hours for 18 years, or somewhere in between? What's the process there?
You see, it again depends upon what and how much of work you want to put in. But first thing, I would like to clarify that I do not teach how to cast black magic. So anyone who want to learn that, I think they have to find somebody else, not me at all. But I'm on protection side, on the light energy side. If you want to help somebody who is in trouble, the first qualification what you should have is to work for the people. You should be giver and not the taker. If you have those qualities and want to learn, I'll be honored to teach you. Though, yeah, though teaching removal of black magic is not my priority. My priority is to teach enlightenment, to teach all the positive energy things, to teach how to find source, to guide people how they can identify themselves.
Very interesting. I was just going to ask you something similar, but isn't this the same in a way? Because it seems like removing black magic is such a difficult process, and it's even dangerous, you told me before, right?
Yes, it is. It is.
That
Anything you are playing with, if you are playing with the energies, it is definitely dangerous. And I think I have seen plenty of movies, horror movies, very specifically, where a light person who wants always to help someone puts himself in trouble.
right,
So
right, right.
anytime they are the dark energies and you are fighting with them, you are also there is definitely a danger involved in it.
So you need to be completely free of any emotional attachments, otherwise the black magic will try to get you through that weakness, I assume.
Ideally, yes.
So in that case, an effective black magic remover and enlightenment are actually equivalent, meaning you need to be almost enlightened to be able to do this job without being in danger yourself, I assume.
Yes, you are perfectly right.
So how does this work? The black magic will identify your emotional state and will basically use your emotional weaknesses against you to find a way in or something like that.
Yes, 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 yes. Most of the movies, I mean, not all of them, but uh, every story has got a basis, and on that basis, the story is built. So you can see, I think, some of the horror movies, and you will understand this concept very well.
I think that's very interesting, the danger for the remover, because enlightenment seems to be a relatively rare phenomenon in our world, at least until now. Who knows? Maybe it will change. But I see tons of people on different New Age pages that are offering black magic removals, and I assume, at least from a statistical standpoint, that most of them are probably not enlightened because there are just too many people who offer this. Do you have any words of advice for those people or any words of wisdom?
To all those who does it, all those who removes it,
Yeah, all those people who are not enlightened and they do black magic removals. I even know one in person.
I think they may be doing something to protect them. Otherwise, it is, you see, it's exactly like healing. What happens when you overdo it without reaching the perfection? Then your positive energy slowly starts reducing. So you make somebody's life happy at the cost of happiness in your life. So these people usually remain sad all the times, in trouble all the times, though they are helping others, but their life usually remains miserable.
Aha, this is very interesting. So this doesn't just go for the ones who do black magic, but also for the ones who remove black magic.
Yes, because when you do not have enough energy in you, you try to do it, it costs you energy.
Okay. Does this potentially lead to a point where they don't have enough energy anymore to defend
Yes,
themselves at a certain removal and then they get seriously damaged?
in so many cases it has happened, and especially in all the movies, I see the same story.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about real life. But you said that real life is like the movies, but
Yeah, I mean, there is some basis for those movies. For these kind of the movies, they are based, uh, made from some untold stories or something. And in real life, also, it is something like this.
so they will do it. They will start doing it. They will start removing it. Works a few times. But as they're doing it, they're consistently losing energy as they need to pump a lot of energy into burning the black magic.
Yes.
They need to basically come up with more energy than was necessary to create the black magic, I assume.
Yeah, yeah, they have to. So they have to continuously chant. They have to continuously do some work to gain energy. Otherwise, they lose, and they lose to a point of no return also.
So I do have another question, since I was able to go with you at some point to like a larger removal, and that was a very interesting experience for me. And you were telling me back then that those black magicians, they are working a little bit different. They have a different technique than gurus, for example, that don't do black magic, in as far as they are trapping ghosts. That's what you told me. And this is really interesting to me how this works. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, that is how it is being done. I have told you entities. It's difficult. As I have told you, no rules applies. But yes, the lower level so-called black magicians, they catch some ghost and order them for some damages, and it happens.
Okay, and damages could be make somebody fall in love with me, or how does that work?
I
What
mean,
damages are usually?
yes, anything. Love spells are being cast. I mean, you can always say that there would be no result, but results are always there. When you cast a spell, there is definitely the effect of spells is there, and it can be anything for all purposes. They are being cast for troubling the enemy, for troubling somebody in the family, for getting the love of somebody, for making somebody favorable to you, for making somebody temporarily hypnotized so then they can sign a contract. For all these things, black magic is being used.
So wherever you're trying to take the free will away of somebody, basically, or
Yes,
influence.
exactly. That is why it is called black magic, because if you have if you have allowed the person to take the free will, everything is right. Then where is the black?
So and those magicians, they ruin themselves, right, as they are doing this work, because every time they have to give some of their own energy when they help somebody do something like this.
Most of them, yes. Some of them may be very smart that they don't lose energy. They find out another method. They chant more. They do things in a better way. But yes, mostly, most of them, they ruin their life in doing this.
Okay. And when somebody has the ability to trap lower level entities or ghosts, do they, have like 150 ghosts around them that they can tell at will what to do? Or how does this work? I'm just trying to get an idea or an image, like,
There is there is no specific rule, but yes, I mean, depending upon what they want to get it done, they invite some entities and they request or order those entities to do their work, and they do it. These entities are usually ghosts.
they're usually ghosts.
Yes.
Okay. So can anybody go into a store and buy a spell book there and then start casting spells and will start putting like energy packages on people that act as black magic, or does it take because you said it's much easier. Is it as easy as I go read a book and learn how to do this from some book that I buy in the next esoteric store down the street, or is it more complicated than that?
It is both. It is as easy as what you have said, for small love spells, for small things, it is that easy. And when you want to cast bigger black magics, I think they need to do a lot of work.
So, one of the things you told me before is that black magicians like to work at night because they like to use the time when their victims sleep, because their natural protection shield is weaker when a person is asleep, so they're able to get in with their energy easier.
Yes, they usually do that. Work in midnight, work in the hours when uh, someone is sleeping. It is easier for them to cause more damage at
Okay.
that time.
And finally, what interests me very much, because from what I understand, the technology behind it, no matter if somebody is a black magician or if somebody is a guru or is, helping, is assisting, is healing, the basic technology behind it is not much different from what I understand.
It is not. You are right. Depending upon your intention, it becomes good or bad. But otherwise, energy is energy. If you know how to create energy, how to use it, you can use it for good. You can also use it for bad. When you use for bad, it is black magic, and when you use it for good, it is white magic.
Okay. This reminds me of Star Wars. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but there was, one of the most promising students, Darth Vader, and he was a wonderful student. The Force was strong in him, they said, but unfortunately, the Dark Force was also strong in him. So my question is, when you feel like that, somebody wants to get initiated and maybe wants to, to go down this path, but you feel like that they will, very easily move into a dark direction. Can you notice this ahead of time? Is this a concern when you take on students, that somebody might become the next rising dark force superstar that destroys half the world or something?
I think we at the time of initiation, a fair idea is there, and if a guru gets even a slight these things, then I usually avoid initiating this kind of person.
You mean a slight thing? You mean like doubt into the integrity of that person? Or?
Yes. If I get even slightest doubt, then in time to come, he may not be interested to be on the lighter side, but may go in the dark side. I avoid initiating the person.
Has this ever happened in the history of Tantra?
It has happened so many times.
Really? Can you give one example?
Several times it has happened. Those names and characters you may not be knowing, but yes, it has happened so many times that somebody was trying to make somebody good and something turned around and everything went bad.
Okay, we're exactly at the time now to end the show, so I think we'll have to stop for today. Thank you so much for joining us. It was super enlightening. Now we know many things about black magic. I guess we have talked about how to avoid it. We have talked about what to be aware of. We have talked about how to identify it. We have talked about how to remove it. We have even talked about how to become a black magic spellcaster without detail, of course. But thank you very much, Guru Bhaneswaranand, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, you're most welcome, and have nice time ahead. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, and just one more thing before we end. We will provide a file with all the symptoms for black magic that we discussed earlier in the show, and you'll be able to download it right from your podcast. If you can't find it there, you can go to www.gurudham.net. That's GURDHAM.net. And go to podcasts and you'll find the file there. There is also on our website a list with all the other rituals that Guru Bhaneswaranand does, and you can download that also. Okay, have a great week and we'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to another episode of Guru Talks. Share this episode with anyone who wants to be enlightened by Guru Bhaneswaranand, and don't forget to click subscribe.